Hello everybody, welcome again to my channel. What do I want to talk to you about today? Today I want to talk to you about the economic model that they have created for us as human beings. When I stop to think of it, most of us are very and extremely poor based on the economic model that has been designed. And here's why I say that. Now, let's begin with a basic thing like a house, shelter. Most of us, based on the pay that we get, cannot buy a house cash. Anything that you cannot buy for cash, it means what? You cannot afford it. Affordability is when you can buy it and forget it. A car. Most of us cannot buy a brand new car or even a nice, what do you call it now? Slightly used second-hand car, say a 3-year-old car. The average Joe or Jill or Jane cannot afford to find, say, $20,000 to buy a car cash. Therefore, you gotta have to buy the house on credit, the car on credit. Most of us, after we get our pay and we take out our expenses, are left with very little to spare. Therefore, they have a credit system that forces you to use credit. And when you use credit and then you cannot pay off that credit that you have used, it means that you're going to start accumulating these debts because it's going to spiral out of control sooner or later. Look at what happened to Thomas Cook Airlines. After 178 years in business, this company has gone bankrupt. Why? Because they had too much debt. But the system that we're a part of does not allow people, based on income versus expenses, to have enough to buy everything cash. Let's look at education. Education is a basic necessity to any civilized society. You need education to get a job or a decent job, you know. You're not gonna scrub floors and whatnot. But the education system is also based on debt and credit. Because most people, the average person, cannot afford to just go to college and pay that $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $100,000 for their school fee. So therefore, they're going to go for credit. So you gotta go for credit when it comes to shelter for a house. When you come to transportation, you gotta go for credit to buy a nice vehicle. You know, so for student loan, the same thing. So what does this say about the economic model? Most of us are poor. We are poor. And we will always be poor based on the economic model. Because we're going to have to live on credit. And credit is debt. And when you owe somebody, the thing is not really yours, you know. The house is not yours. The car is not yours. Your time is not yours. Because you gotta go and work to pay back the student loan. And if you think I'm joking, buy a house and miss one payment and you see what happens. Buy a car on credit and miss your payment and you see who owns that thing. So the economic model that these people have come up with is very destructive to us in building wealth and in living a happy life, because when you're in debt and when you have to depend on a job to pay that debt, and you're always on the edge. You can't be happy because some people they're insecure because you fear hearing that, sorry, we're not making enough money, the business got to shut down, and so we're going to lay you off, or we're going to terminate your employment. It's crazy model. This is a crazy economic model that they have devised for us. And I think that there need to be a better economic model. I don't know, some genius gonna have to create something better than what we have today, because what we have today is madness. It is total madness that is happening in our society. It is very much a crazy thing that's happening. See, right now, in the United States and even in Canada, they're cutting interest rates, which means that when the interest rate is low, people are going to borrow more, but people are already up to their neck in debt. So what so when an economy is doing well, they're supposed to increase the interest rate, and they said the economies are doing well, yet still they're raising the interest rates, which make no sense whatsoever. And when you increase the interest rate, it helps to cushion the blow of, it helps to temper economic activity, cool down the economic activity. Like if too many people are getting in debt, when the interest rate is lower, you don't have as much people borrowing. Higher, you don't have as much people borrowing, and so on and so forth. Let me tell you something, man. It is total madness. And in order for you to build wealth and to have anything, you gotta go and credit. And you can credit a nice car and credit a nice house. But the danger in that is it leads to misery when you lose that house, and when you lose that car, or when you can't pay a minimum payment, or when you can't pay a student loan. And, it's just misery upon misery. So this economic model was designed by some people who just don't understand what life is all about. And I think that there's a better model that they need to come up with. Because I think that a basic thing like shelter, we should not have to pay $300,000 and $400,000 just to live under a roof, for 40 years. Seriously. Why is it that a house with so much land that is available, why is it that a house could not be like something like you go to buy a tissue in the supermarket? It's just mankind designed this, You should be able to just go and buy your house for $1,000. And even if you have to have a little payment, yes. But most of us, just to have a shelter over our head, we have to save and save and save and save and save, and to pay just for the down payment, and you cannot pay that house off until the next 40 years. Why? And when you stop to think of it, it's just profiteering, because the banks come up with this model that says that when you buy a house, the banks must make, when you buy the house for $300,000, the bank must by the time you finish paying for that house after the 30, 40 years, you would have paid 3-4 times the amount. So 1.2 or whatever the math is. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's just crazy economic model that we have come up with. Why is it that a car could not value less I guess they're gonna set the parts to this and that and that and that. But you know what? And that is why the wise person right now, I don't mind renting a house, or I don't mind driving a second-hand car. I don't mind just whatever I can't afford cash, I do without, because it's just absolute madness. Even the educational system. Most of the students today, when they come out of college, they're not even getting a job in their field, and if they do get in their field, they're going to get entry level jobs, or which is not going to pay much, or they're going to get less hours, and so it will forever be a system of impoverishment and slavery. It is just absolute mad economics that they have come up with, and they need to change the system. The system need to change. It is brutal, it is wicked, it is enslaving, and it gives people no other option than to be stuck to paying for a house and a car for the rest of their lives, and you never ever go to see what life is all about. You never get to travel. You never get to go here or there, because you gotta you have this mortgage, and you have this car, and you have this student loan, and you have the credit card to pay for. So you gotta always be on the job, 2, 3 jobs. Seriously? Is that what our life was meant to be by Almighty God who put us here? I doubt that. Anyway, people, I hope that you have learned something. I hope that I've stimulated your imagination. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more insightful reasonings. Thank you. Bye-bye.